Good evening, Tushar, and
Good evening. Hi, how are you?
all good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for joining us on such short notice. We took away a small chunk of your weekend, so really sorry for that.
No worries. I'm happy to help anytime.
Uh, so, Tushar, firstly, can our audience get to know a bit about you?
Sure. So there's not a lot to know about me. I'll just go with the basics. So right from the beginning, I was interested in a lot of logical reasoning, how things work. I was the guy. A very funny story. When I was a child, someone told that I am like Paresh Rawal. I ask why is in everything. Every damn question is a why. Why is this working this way? So I got interested in science. Things worked out. I did my engineering in computer science. Got into a B school. During my engineering, was simple. It was very simple. I did some math. I did some coding. I had a small startup, did some research. I got interested in finance to know how things work in that domain. Can I apply something?
Hmm.
Did my
Hmm.
MBA, went to IIM was lucky to have a good friends group, worked in Edelweiss Global Markets in the proprietary trading desk, worked at a hedge fund based in Singapore, joined Goldman Sachs briefly, and then right now I'm working at Neo as a quant portfolio manager.
No, that's an inspiring story in itself. I mean, every engineer who transitions to a B school uh, looks forward to actually reaching where you are.
Thank you
So,
for being kind, but it's just the beginning. I have not done anything.
uh, okay. Tushar, I just wanted to know, for example, you being a conventional computer science engineer and then breaking into Edelweiss and Singapore-based hedge fund and then Goldman Sachs and Neo. So you've had an amazing fin journey till now. So how can engineers break into fin and how do they prepare?
Right. Okay. So, just like the consulting interviews that go on, I'll structure this answer so that it becomes easier to understand primarily. The first thing for summers, a cat's prior brands are something that becomes vital. For example, if you don't have the CADs, if you don't have prior work ex in finance, get something like a CFA, L1, L2. Don't just write a candidate. Actually qualify. Go ahead. So either
Hmm.
you have the CATs, either you have a big brand name. For example, you're from a big IIT, you are from SRCCs, you are from the best colleges in that particular domain. That
Hmm.
helps. Good CATs in that help.
Hmm.
That brand. Otherwise, you may have worked in that field. For example, you were an equity research analyst. You have some kind of past work experience in that field. The third thing is if you don't have any of these, maybe you have a certification. CFL1, CFL2 is something that people look at
Hmm.
primarily as a way of gauging interest. So these are three ways to get into your summer as well.
Hmm.
After that, during your finals, your ACADS in your B school play a vital role.
Hmm.
The place that you interned during your summer, maybe your life project where you worked at. Summer internships may not work out very well for someone.
Hmm.
So the way it works is you reach out, you try to contact people, you try to land a life project, maybe in that field. That also shows the kind of interest that you have. Again, passing CFL, 12-3, these kinds of things can help you get shortlists from good firms.
Hmm.
Preparation is a very different ball game.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, you're the master here. We're all learners.
No, no, I am not the master. Again, if something is unclear, if there's something that you need me to clarify, I'll be more than happy to go in details.
Uh, I just wanted to know that when you said someone has a past work experience,
Hmm.
how big of a role does a certain sort of past work experience actually play?
Right.
Because that is a confusion that a lot of people have that, okay, we don't have the past work experience, so we'll never get a shortlist or something like that.
Hmm. It plays a role. Again, as I mentioned, there are three things:
Hmm.
past CAD's brand,
Brand.
your work experience,
Experience.
or your certifications. These are ors. If you
Hmm.
have all three, it's very good.
Very good.
But even if you have one, the probability of you getting a short list increases.
Hmm.
Everything is very probabilistic. If you
Hmm.
have a past work experience, but your accounts are very, very bad, there is a probability that you may not get any shortlist. If you
Shortlist.
have very good accounts, but no past work experience, for example, I am a fresher, I did not have any past work experience. I still got one shortlist during my summers, that was Edelweiss. So that is how things work out. Work experience, if you have a good work experience, a rich work experience, which is very, very relevant. For example, you worked in equity research, you worked in investment banking, maybe in the back office, mid office, somewhere like that, then the probability of you getting a shortlist increases by a lot.
One very common question that we encounter is a big brand with not so good role versus a startup with a very high impact role. Which one should someone choose, and which one, in your opinion, creates an impact? Because recently we've been getting this at PrepNip, that what sort of a working should we go for? Let's say if we're planning to do an MBA 2 years hence. Then
yes, I'll be brutal here. From a learning point of view, go for the role. But if you're just gunning for an internship or gunning for how your profile will look for an MBA, then brands play a big role. So if you are just very focused on, you are very clear that you want to do an MBA and you want to build a good profile for your MBA, then that brand is something that makes your CV noticeable because it works as a very good filter. Does that make sense?
Got it. And as you said, that summers might not play out that well for a lot of people.
Right.
So in terms of prep, okay, live projects or CFA is one thing, but in terms of prep, how would you suggest someone should go about between their summers and finals to crack those roles in finance?
Okay. So in terms of prep, there are a few aspects that you need to be very, very clear with. The first is you need to know accounting. Irrespective of your background, you're not a CA, you are an engineer, whatever it is that you are, respectfully, you need to know accounting, technical accounting. First thing, non-negotiable. The second thing is you need to understand how a sector works. You should not, I'm not asking you to go ahead and tell me that this is the exact nuances, but you should be able to understand how the business works. For example, if I ask you that if you're tracking an industry or a sector, you should be able to tell me at least something that is going on in the sector. You should know how the business works. That is the second thing. In that, you analyze a sector, you analyze one company in that sector, you go deep down into their value chain, how things are working, how are they creating value, where are they getting their money from, what are their expenses, what is their valuation looking like, things on those lines, on the valuation end. And this is, apart from this, the last thing is be very clear, read the newspaper on a very daily basis. You need to know what is going on in the world. Supreme Court made a ruling on Trump tariffs 2 days ago. Trump then initiated something else as well. Will it impact the markets? How will it impact the market? What is your view on the Indian markets, for example, 2 years hence? What is your view on gold 1 year hence? What is your view on something? Be very clear with your view. You should be able to articulate and create your own view and have reasoning for that. So be aware of what is happening in the market on a macro level. Be good on the accounting technicals aspect and understand, at least track one sector and understand how the business works, and one company where you understand where are they deriving value from, who are their customers, who are their suppliers, what is the valuation looking like, who are their competitors, what is the entire landscape looking like.
God, I think that is absolutely amazing, because, and I think I will also benefit, and everybody who watches this is going to absolutely be sure what to do now. So how is, for example, you are a quant researcher, right? Or you work in the quants field. So how is it different from the conventional finance fields that we hear about, for example, IB or markets? So how is this different?
Right. So the way I'll structure finance easily, if you look at
Mm,
finance, I feel the jobs in finance as a field. One is you have the corporate finance divisions in
mm,
multinationals, for
mm,
example, your ITC, HUL. They have the
mm.
corporate finance that deal with the budgeting, their planning, their capex. How are they trying to allocate money and
Money.
what they?
Mm,
Where are they getting their money from? How are they
mm,
allocating money
mm,
in the corporates? That is what corporate finance deals.
mm.
Apart from corporate finance, you can segregate finance into two more aspects. One is the buy side, the second is the sell side.
Sell side.
So, sell side is your investment banking, equity research, where what you do is you mediate deals. You
Mm.
provide a service to your clients. For example, you are assume that you are a startup founder.
Got it.
I am a guy assuming that I am, for example, a private equity or someone who allocates money to startups, for
Mm,
example, who is ready to put money in startups. You
mm,
need money. I need a place to put my money in.
mm,
Now, the investment banker basically looks at your company, values the company. The investment banker knows us both.
mm.
The investment banker knows the risk profile that I want, the kind
Got
of business that I'm looking to invest in.
it. Mm,
You need an investor that fits into a particular kind of category. You need this kind of mentorship. You need this kind of equity. You're ready to dilute it this much, whatever your requirements are.
mm,
The investment
mm.
banker values your business, understands your business, and then helps us in getting into a deal, mediating
Deal.
a deal between you receiving or raising capital from us. That is
Mm,
what investment bankers do on a daily
mm,
basis, putting it
mm,
very simply.
mm,
Equity research is something you have publicly listed companies. They research, they look at the company fundamentals, the financials, and they suggest, is this a good buy? What is happening with the company? What is their opinion on the company? Do they think
mm,
that you buy it right now? Do you hold? Do you sell? What is it that the recommendation is? They're
mm.
not putting in both of these places, they are not allocating their own capital.
Own capital.
They are providing services to people who are allocating capital. Okay,
Got
does that
it.
make
Mm.
sense?
Yes.
The buy side, you have private equity, the people who are allocating capital, for example, the private markets. People allocate
Mm,
money in growth stage startups. Please, VCs allocate in the Series A, Stage A in startups. If you're putting money, that is the
mm.
private equity or the
Equity.
private place where you invest. Private markets.
Mm,
You can allocate equity, credit, whatever it is.
mm,
The next thing that you come is publicly listed equities, the
mm,
markets. In
mm,
market, there are people who are discretionary. There are asset management companies like mutual funds who pool
mm.
in money, or AIFs who pool in money and manage money on the behalf of others. So
Yeah.
they have the money and the allocation decision is theirs to make.
There's topic.
I fall into a category called as proprietary trading or hedge funds,
Hedge funds.
where I am a proprietary trader. So what we do is the company has its own capital.
Mm,
We trade on the company's capital. So a
mm,
discretionary trader may be taking calls on their own analysis, for example, and that analysis may change. For example, they think that the Trump's tariff right now is still not favorable to India.
mm,
So
mm,
they may go short on the Indian markets tomorrow.
mm, mm,
They do their analysis. Their analysis may change. They may be qualitative, quantitative, whatever it is. They
mm,
can have different frameworks of making that analysis, but
mm.
it is very discretionary in nature. What quants do is basically find patterns that this is a pattern that I think may be exploitable in the market, and we develop strategies to
Yes.
exploit those edges. So we are also trading in the markets, just our trading is completely systematic.
Mm,
They are based on some statistical reasoning behind why things are happening and if that edge will hold up. So that is
mm,
how we can break finance into
mm,
goals and aspects, if that
mm.
makes sense.
That is so descriptive. Uh, One question is, since you said you find patterns in the market and it's very structured, is coding a necessary component of getting into quant?
Yes, it is. You need to
Mm,
know coding. You need to know statistics. You need to know coding. So
mm,
these are two non-negotiables. And depending on if you want to go into high frequency trading, mid frequency trading, low frequency trading, your knowledge of finance may become relevant or may not become relevant.
okay, got it. And if I may ask, when we say coding, what level of coding are we talking about here? Like the competitive level coding or Something like knowledge of oops, of something like that.
So that question is very tricky to answer given the current advances in AI.
Mm.
But what I'll suggest is you have to be very, very thorough with the design and the logic building aspect. For
Okay.
example, if you know a lot of computer science engineers do DSA at some point in life.
Mm.
So you need not know DSA completely, but the exercise of doing or solving those lead code questions in
Mm.
itself helps you build logic, helps you design solutions. If you're
Mm.
good with designing solutions, then right now using AI, you can code. But
Mm.
that code may not be completely appropriate. So if you know how to design, then the knowledge of coding required may differ.
May differ. Mm. Got it. Thank you so much, Tushar. I think this session is going to change the way people look at finance and prepare for finance. And I think anyone who's not able to approach people, I think this is going to be a game changer for them, especially me, because I'll be honest, I learned a lot today in these 20-25 minutes. The amount that I've not been able to learn till date, and it's my third term. So this was absolutely enlightening.
Thank you.
One,
Thank you for being so generous. Yeah,
genuinely, I mean, means a lot. One last question that I have is, okay, I have two questions.
sure. Go ahead.
Firstly, how was your journey at IIM Calcutta?
Mhm.
And secondly, three non-negotiables according to you for anyone who is in a B school or wants to enter a B school.
Okay. So my journey at IIM Calcutta, putting it briefly, was as transformative as anything could have been. I did not know anything.
Hmm.
I still do not know anything, but I now know that I do not know anything and that I have to keep learning. So that is the biggest thing. You understand that you are no one. That
Hmm.
is the biggest thing and the best thing that can happen to you in a B school. You
Hmm.
enter, you are clueless what happens.
Hmm.
Still, the only thing that you have to keep up at IMCAL or any B school, for example, I'll give my example. I did not know anything, but
Hmm.
I was very good at asking for help. I went to
Hmm.
my seniors. I told them I do not know anything. You tell me what to do. I'll just do exactly that. I'll
Exactly.
execute whatever it is that you ask me to. I'll not think
Hmm.
till you do not know how to approach things. Execute from someone who
Hmm.
knows better than you. Once you start executing, you start getting a hang of things. And people
Hmm.
are not comfortable with executing. And
Hmm.
you have to execute, you have to get your hands dirty, even if you do not have complete information, because you will never have complete information.
Hmm.
Once you get into a B school, at for example at IMCAL, I approached my seniors. I did not know anything. I went to a senior 10 times a day.
Hmm.
He grilled me 7 times a day. I was getting grilled left and right, but you learn from that.
Yeah.
And as you keep learning, it keeps getting better. Of course, IMCAL has a lot of things that are great in a lot of ways. So yes, it has been as transformative as it could have been. Couldn't have asked for anything better. I'm grateful to my college for that. Answering the first question.
Ah,
Should I elaborate on that or is this?
this is the best answer I could have thought of.
Okay.
Next
So
question is three non-negotiables according to you that any person who is inside a B school or who wants to enter a B school should do.
be very disciplined. Very difficult to do that in a B school. Very,
Mhm.
very difficult. You won't believe I used to pack up and wrap up my day at 10 p.m.
Oh.
And my wingies used to pester me at night. They would used to knock my door. They tried their best to not let me sleep. But yes, I was very disciplined in that aspect that I know that this is when I'll wrap up. This is when I'll start. I started early. When everyone went to sleep, that is when I started. So
Mm.
be very disciplined. Maybe your schedule would be completely opposite. But be very disciplined and do not lose focus of what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Achieve.
The first thing again is discipline. Second
Mm.
is second is persistence. The third is focus.
Mm.
Things may not work out very well. For example, as I elaborated on discipline, persistence, I got only one shortlist in my
Mm.
shortlist. a lot of people will give up, and it is actually probabilistically the right choice. But
Hmm.
even if you give up at that point, my suggestion would be, please do not give up on that dream. Keep being persistent, keep putting in the efforts. Do not just think that I don't think this will happen, so I'll stop putting in the efforts. Things work in ways that we will never be able to comprehend. We are too small, or too uh, we are too human to learn how things
Never,
work
never
in
come.
their reality. So just keep putting in the efforts, things will work your way, and do not lose focus of what it is that you're trying to achieve. The
Hmm.
second is lose focus, everything does not make sense. Everything
Makes
goes
sense.
away.
Thank you so much. I mean, couldn't have asked for anything better than this, Tushar. And I will say this interview ke perspective se nahi, but Tripti, when she was going through her summers, I used to hear ki Tushar has helped me in this, Tushar has helped me in that. And ever since then, I just wanted to converse with you once. And I didn't know I would get this opportunity like this. But trust me, it is an honor for me to converse with you.
Thank
And
you for being so generous and humble. And even to Tripti, she's just been very humble and generous. There's nothing that I could do to help. I can just guide the with whatever little knowledge that I have. It is upon the person to take the path and follow. So again, it's my pleasure to be of any help.
and नहीं मतलब हम लोग humble genuine नहीं, but as you said, you went to 10 seniors. This is our way of reaching out to our seniors, and it's just that uh, you are gracious enough to guide us. And I'm damn sure anyone who's entering a B school, the cohort, or anyone who is in a B school, this is going to change their way of thinking. So thank you once again for being a part of PrepNip and helping us out.
Sure, sure. Happy to help. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.